This is Supta Virasana. So if you have trouble sitting on your heels, you can put a block in between. All right, so that can help you sit on your heels easily. Then my proposal is that we sit on, that we extend ourselves onto a bolster. If you've raised your hips by sitting on a block, be a little low for you. So you could take an extra blanket and put it on the bolster, or you could use the chair instead of the bolster. This is if you have raised, right, this way. Okay, so take that lesson as a general lesson that when you raise your seat, then you need to raise what your support will be when you bend forward. It is a general rule, okay? So sit on your heels. You can separate your knees a little bit and take a moment, press your shins down, draw your thighs back, tailbone forward, lift up in your trunk, shoulders are down and head is back. And sit and just breathe there for a moment. And investigate, observe if you're sitting well. If it's a little annoying on your feet for this moment, remember that we're going to bend forward. So don't get distracted, but make sure that you're using these pelvic muscles, leg muscles, lifting, adjusting, and breathing. Then when we move forward, we want to move from the hip. We've learned by now that if we just bend forward, there's no extension. So to get extension, we've got to press the legs down without lifting the hips. Experiment with that. Here, I'm resting on the hips. There's a relaxation. There's a tension in the pelvis. But now, press the legs down. Engage those pelvic muscles more. Lift in your trunk and extend your trunk forward. Hold your arms on your bolster. You can either put your head on your arms or on your bolster, but rest your forehead on something, keeping your trunk long and your neck in line with your trunk. I'm going to come see how you're doing. Lee, make your support higher. Lee, yeah, make your support higher because your hips are too high. Thank you. If I can see you, I can help you. So your hips must stay down on your heels. Oh, Lee, that looks better. I bet it feels better too. Extend your sit bones back. Lengthen through the armpits. The outer armpits roll down toward the floor. And if this is, the whole thing is just really too difficult or annoying for you, if you have knee issues, you can sit in a chair and bend forward on your desk or table. You would still use the firmness in the legs, the lifting out of the trunk, all of the same techniques that we've used. But if your knees are giving you a very hard time, then you have to find another solution, another way to get there. Let your breath be slow and steady. All right. So then, from wherever you are, we're going to sit back on the heels, remove your support. Now there's a number of ways we can make the transition to our next pose, which is Cobra Bhujangasana. The most athletic way would be to stretch your arms forward, keep your face near the floor, and slide forward, keeping the elbows in, and lift your trunk. So the thighs stay down. So I'm not way up here. I'm trying to get my hips down, drawing the spine forward, shoulders back, head up, elbows in. If that doesn't quite work for you, you could come from here, just come to all fours. You could still have some good arm work. Take your chest forward, your trunk forward, and just bend your elbows and come down, and then lift up. Eyes down, shoulders back, head up. If you're sitting in the chair, you can emulate this by just extending yourself over the desk, lifting your chest. Let's go back and sit back for a moment. So the idea here is to put the thoracic spine forward and the tailbone down. This will work a little bit better if we remove this blanket. It's not completely necessary, but let's try it again. So you can sit back, knees are apart. You can either come up, walk forward, and go down, or slide elbows in, slide your face forward, get the thighs down, and lift your trunk. Roll your shoulders back, stretch your legs back, lift your trunk, and breathe. Feel your sternum lifting toward the ceiling. You should not hurt your back. Tighten your glutes and breathe. And come back. When you come up, walk your hands back in and sit up. We're going to do one more just because in this situation, it takes a while for me to explain everything. So you've had a couple of tries now. Pick the solution that works best for you to transfer from this seated pose, or if you're sitting in a chair, that's still fine. You can just put your forearms on the desk and push yourself up in that way and get that extension in your upper trunk particularly, and keep your tailbone in. All right. So the way, in whatever way you want to go do this one more time, let's do it. And breathe. So yes, I feel some action in my low back, but it's not painful, it's exercise. If you can straighten your arms more, keep your thighs down, that's fine. Pubis should be near the floor or on the floor. And then come back and sit. If you're on the floor, walk your hands in, sit up, and then stretch your legs out. Done. Now remember, and you can sit at the wall. If getting this low back straight is a challenge for you, remember how we sit at the wall. and sit so that the wall touches the lower hip, not the waist, but the lower hip. All right. So if you need that support, absolutely take it. This, when we practice yoga, there's a progression in learning. And if you, especially in this class, you're much more on your own than if you were, we were together. So you have to take things that you've learned. Like Mary, I see that you're doing exactly right, because I know that you're a little stiffer there. So that will help you straighten your legs, and that will help you lift up if you're at the wall. So that's kind of on you. Sit up tall. Stretch the soles of your feet out. Spread out your toes. Draw your kneecaps up so that this thigh muscle moves back. Tailbone moves inward. Abdomen, lower abdomen, tailbone, pubic bone, move toward one another. Then it helps us lift our trunk, lower the shoulder blades, lengthen the neck, and breathe. It's interesting how challenging it is to hold this pose. All right, and then relax. Now, then we're going to have back arching in the chair. This one's going to take some explaining. You'll need your strap. Your proportion will decide if you need to sit on a blanket or not. And I'll explain that a little bit more once you kind of get your props collected. We're going to put the strap or tie your strap around the back of the chair. We've done this before. It's been a while. And just make it kind of tight and let the tail of it hang down. Now, if you're a little bit shorter, if you're long in the trunk, let's just start there. If you're long in the trunk, then, and I'm a petite person, but my trunk is a little bit, it's long enough so that the bottom of my shoulder blade is hitting the edge of this chair. And I'm pliable enough up here that I can work with this. But if the bottom of your shoulder blade is hitting the edge of the chair, you need more height. And you will get that sitting on a folded blanket. We about together? And we're just going to sit in simple cross-legged, just ankles crossed, swastikasana, and sit tall. Find the end of your belt, bring it over your shoulder, and sit tall. So muscular action in the hip area, leg and hip area, that we need to explore. So these thighs, again, just like when we were on the floor, the thighs move back and the tailbone moves forward, tailbone to pubic bone, which then firms your lower abdomen. This gives you a firm seat. And from that firm seat, you can lift the trunk and receive the legs. If your knees go up very high in this pose, you can pump up a little bit more, but you get too high, you won't get the benefit of the chair on your back. Because having this chair in our back now, so that this chair back is, maybe you can even feel it, that it gives us feedback on how to lift this upper chest. It's only touching your back, but that touch shows you where that area is, and you know how to lift it from there. So the first thing is just bring your arms up and lift up Urdhva Hastasana or in Swastikasana. Feel the extension and try to balance your upper body with your lower. I notice that when I pull my arms up, I lean forward a little bit, but help my knees go down. And then when I corrected quickly, my knees came right back. So you might lean forward just a little, let the knees relax back down, and then be a little slower and more thoughtful in sitting back up so that your back touches the chair, and see if you can keep your knees down. We have to be tricky, yogis. Okay, come down. Take a breath. This time we're going to interlock our fingers. Pada Ungriasana. Sit tall. Teaching the knees to descend as your trunk ascends is a practice. It doesn't seem very normal, but it's possible. Nothing about yoga is very normal. All right, so bring your arms up, interlock your fingers, revolve your palms. Now bring the palms right over the top of your head and pull your elbows way back, and your back should still be touching the chair and your knees down. If they're not down, just give them all kinds of encouragement to do that. As you straighten your arms and lift, be sure that your thighs stay down. All the way up, the wrists toward the ceiling. Those knuckles stay right over the top of your head. Straighten your arms as much as possible. If your elbows are very bent here and you're not getting much cooperation, lucky for you, there's a belt handy. So instead of interlocking your fingers, you can hold the belt, pull that up over your head, and pull the shoulder blades up. And breathe. And then come down. Stretch your legs out. Remember which one went out first. Stretch them out for a moment. So the first one that came out, put that in first now, and bring the second one in. Did that change the cross? I'm not sure it did. Let's do it the other way. Anyway, change the cross of your legs. Sit up tall. Then we're going to bring our arms up over the head, interlock the fingers, and change the interlock. So to figure that out, simply interlock your fingers. Because we're habitual creatures, we probably did it the same way. Revolve the palms up and lift up the knuckle over the crown. And then see, did you move away from the chair any? Can you move back to the chair and keep the knees, thighs down? Can you get that cooperation? And breathe. And then come down. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take this belt, we're going to put it so that it's right over the top of the head. You can hold up the tail if you don't want it to dangle in your face. We're going to lift up, holding onto the belt, this time we have to have both hands together. So the main goal here is to arch the back right there where it's touching the chair. And you're going to walk your hands back, holding the chair, seeing where you can go. And then release that. This might work better if we put the chair at the wall next time. Lift up, stretch your arms. So don't be pushing the chair, lift yourself over the chair. Walk your hands back. Get a wonderful stretch. Yes, I should have put that at the wall. Let's do it again and put your chair at the wall. I apologize. It worked fine when I tried it before, but it's not working fine now. All right. All right, now that chair's not going anywhere. You can change the cross of your legs again since we had to move anyway. That belt over your shoulders, then over the top of your head. The first thing is to lift up. Straighten your elbows, extend upward. Use the tension of the belt to help you arch back. The knees may tend to go up, especially if you go quickly. So take it slow. Lift up, the thighs down, lift up the chest. Keep walking your hands back. Keep walking your hands back. You may be able to touch the back of the chair. Nice if it's in the middle of the room now, but it's fine. We made it. Draw your elbows in and up and breathe. And then come up and release. Change the cross of your legs one more time. Belt up. And see if you can grab hold of your belt and then put the other arm further back than you did the last time, okay? It's a detail, so don't worry too much. Straighten your arms up, thighs down. Then, slowly, lift up your trunk, lift up that upper back, roll the shoulders over the top of the chair, keep your thighs down, walk your hands back. Maybe you touch the wall. If you touch the wall, push your knuckles into the wall, straighten your arms and lift your chest more. And breathe. So I just made a fist and pushed my knuckles, the flat part, not my knuckles, but the flat part of my fingers into the wall. And then come up. So what we've done so far, resting the forehead in a pose or having the head lower than the hips is considered restorative. Calms the mind, it soothes the nervous system. So we've done that with the forward bending on the bolster. Then the lifting of the chest, Bhujangasana, the cobra. This begins to open up all of the lymphatic system. It lifts the symbolic heart up. These times can kind of get it down. So you lift up your heart, will open up your chest, and that's very healing. And then that prepared us for the next pose, which was this one, okay, where there was a lot more of all of those things. So that's the reason behind what we just did, okay? Now then we're gonna sit in the chair and twist just to kind of finish it off and get everything working together. All right, so stand up. Now you'll want your chair away from the wall. You're going to sit forward in your chair. Put your feet outside of the legs of the chair. This may be a better view. All right, so the ankles are outside the legs of the chair. This is for stability, so you won't slide around in the chair as you're twisting. Okay, nice shirt. Sit so that you're sort of square in the chair. Your thighs have nice support. Draw the thighs toward one another somewhat for stability, so they're not just splaying out, and relax. Feet are pressing the floor, thighs are active, lifting our trunk. Bring your arms up, extend those elbows. We've had plenty of that in this class. And twist to be your right. Keep those thighs apart. Press the legs of the chair with your heels. Bring your arms down. Your left arm goes on your right thigh. Your right arm goes to the back of the chair. You can start on the back of the chair, or you can walk it around further down. See how I'm down here rather than up here. You do what you can. Having the hand lower helps keep the shoulder down. All right, lower your shoulders. Now lift that upper back that we've just been working and begin to twist toward the back of the chair. So you can use your arm on the chair. I'm kind of hooking my elbow around the back of that chair, pulling with that. And then slowly release that and come back to the center. Take a moment. Take some breaths. And then we're going to lift up. Press the feet down. Legs are firm. We're going to twist to your left. Left arm goes back. Right arm goes on your left knee. Get your trunk and your shoulders level. Begin to push on the back, pull on the front to get the trunk to turn. Shoulders are down, trunk is perpendicular. And breathe. And slowly release that. Sit for a moment. You can bring your legs together. Okay, this time we're going to turn to the side. So we'll turn to the side. I'm turning to your right. And this is the situation where in most cases, the seat of the chair now tips a little bit toward the back. So you've got to have both sit bones on the chair, and you've got to press a little bit more, usually on the front one. It's just some adjustment you have to make. There are other things you could do, but they take longer. We're just going to be here for a moment, so let's just do it ourselves. Press your feet down, draw up through your legs and up through your trunk, lifting the pelvis, using those abdominal muscles a bit. Lifting your chest, letting the shoulders go back and down, head back. Take a breath. This time, keep your arms down and begin to twist from the bottom to the top, slowly letting that circularize through your trunk. You can put your right hand on the back of the chair and pause for a moment. Draw that shoulder blade in and lift up. The shoulder goes in and down, and the trunk goes up. push that hand onto the chair and continue to twist. And bring your left hand around. So your right hand is going to push and your left hand is going to pull. Your trunk remains even. The right ribs may tend to move toward the chair. So move them in and lift the left ribs up, but the shoulder stays down. Keep breathing. Keep just a good firm pressure. We're not trying to turn our trunk with our arms, but we're trying to provide the leverage for the trunk to turn. Keep breathing and releasing. And it always surprises me that there's more to be released. So be patient with this. When it stops releasing, or it seems to, you may still have more, then settle into that moment, continually observing. Could I draw my right ribs in just a little more? Left ribs up, shoulders down, head in line, and breathing. Legs are firm, and breathing. Now very slowly, keeping the lift, begin to release your pose. Maintain your posture, but slowly unwind it. Sit tall. Take a breath or two. Turn to the front so your sit bones can get level. Sit tall. Take a breath or two. Then we're going to go to your left. Make the same adjustment for the chair with your hip. And sit tall. And observe how that's going for you. Are your ribs equally lifted, shoulders down, chest up, head back? This time your left arm goes to the back of the chair. Roll that shoulder down and lift your trunk and bring those ribs inward. Begin to twist, and as you do, you're going to move your hand back. Your right hand will go to your left knee first, and then to the back of the chair. Keep your elbows lifting so that the twisting of the trunk, the attitude of your trunk is clearer to you, so that it's easier to know if something's out of line. See that you're sitting, making the adjustment for the chair. Your feet are gently pressing, firmly pressing. You're lifting your trunk. You're adjusting the ribs. You're allowing the trunk to twist. You're pushing with your left hand, pulling with your right. Breathing. Turns out that the exhale is the best, usually the best place to add a little push for your twist. Releasing as you exhale. As you inhale, observing, improving your posture. Exhaling, a little pressure or a little invitation to your trunk to release and twist. when the movement, excuse me, when your movement seems to have come to a stop, then settle yourself in that position, refining it, improving it, making it more whole, one thing. Let your mind be quiet and breathe. Now very slowly, maintaining your posture. Keep the lift in your trunk. Use your hands to support and reinforce that. Twist back to the side. Just put your hands in your lap for a moment and rest. Take a breath or two. And then turn to the front. Sit tall. Take a breath or two. Notice your posture. Notice how your body and your mind feel. All right, now we're going to go to the floor for a supported pranayama, a breathing. Prana is the energy of life that is carried into us by the breath. So the breath is the mechanism for that energy. And yama means to retain or hold. So you will need a bolster, 2 blankets, and then of course, applications to be made. Oh, you will also need your strap. No, let's just do it with legs out, but you'll still need your strap. Okay, so I give you a little. It's best to put your bolster further back so that when you stretch your legs out, they end up on your mat so that things are all together. We're going to put the belt just around the sort of the mid thigh, just the mid thigh. And make it firm. You don't have to cut off circulation or anything, but just make it firm. And what you will, I think, find is even though your legs are going to relax, that this firmness in the upper thigh helps to keep things centered better. It's not as completely open, and because we're present, we're not in Shavasana, we're busy here. So then, when you lay back, as usual, we want the edge of this bolster to hit our kidneys. Okay? If the bolster is too high, then you add another blanket, and you may have to add more support for your head at the top. Okay? You about ready? So sit up tall, Dandasana, a very strong Dandasana action, which is what we did when we sat on the floor before. It means rod or staff pose. Then press the hands on the floor, lift that chest. We've had practice at that. Keep it lifting, pressing and extending, and check out where is your bolster. Ooh, it might be in the right place. It might need to be adjusted. Lift your chest, adjust your bolster until it feels it hits you kind of at the lower ribs. And then release yourself on down. Bring the folded blanket up under your head to touch your shoulders on the top, not under. Remove your glasses and take your arms out to the side with the palms up. Now you can relax your legs here, but the belt will keep them somewhat organized. Inspect. Are you straight on your bolster? Do you feel equally supported left and right? Do both shoulders bolster equally? Is your head in line? Your chin should be in line with that clavicular notch in the sternum. All of that should be in line. And the chin is down just slightly. You can relax your legs, not pay too much more attention to them, except to be sure that they have released evenly and equally. And that your hands, arms, are resting evenly and equally on the floor. If your eyes are not closed already, go ahead and close them. Relaxing your eyes, relaxing your jaw and tongue. Relax the inside of your mouth. Imagine that the inside of your mouth is its own vast universe. The lips stay closed, but the inner mouth is relaxed. The tongue rests in the lower jaw. Notice how the breath moves through your nostrils. Where does the inhale touch? Where does the exhale touch? Create a slow and steady for yourself. Nothing fancy, but something that is within your awareness. And because we are suggesting that it be slow and steady, smooth and even, we are taking the breath under our control to some degree. So work with that. Observing the movement of the breath, first of all, in your nostrils. Relaxing the inner mouth and the jaw. Softening your eyes and the space between your eyes. And ask yourself to establish a slow, steady breath, smooth and even, nurturing. This is very natural and very easy, nothing challenging. Easy breath, slow and steady. Notice how things continue to soften even more as you focus and tend to yourself. Now consider the possibility of taking a little more control of your breath by pausing the inhale several times. There's no gripping, it's simply a pause. So keep your normal breath now while I'm talking. After we exhale, we will inhale and pause, inhale and pause. We've done this before, so I think you are familiar with it. So before we begin, evaluate your situation. Could anything be more relaxed, more settled? Exhale first. Then take a slow, steady inhale and pause about a third of the way. And then inhale a little more and pause. And inhale a little more all the way to the top of your chest and pause. And from the bottom, exhale. So keep your chest lifting and empty from the bottom to the top. And then take a normal breath. Release the chest. So we'll inhale, normal exhale. The next inhale, we will segment into 3 pieces. Slowly inhale and pause. Inhale and pause. Inhale, pause. From the bottom, exhale to the top. Keep the chest lifted until the very end, and then inhale and exhale normally. Take a couple of breaths there. See that everything is remaining relaxed, that this is a simple, easy breath. We're just pausing. So be aware of your next inhale. Normal exhale. Then as we inhale about a third of your volume and pause. Third of your volume and pause. Third of your volume to the top and pause. From the bottom, release and exhale. Keep the chest lifted, and then normal breathing. And continue normally for just a moment. By retaining our inhale, we allow the elements that we bring in with our inhale a little more time to nurture and spread through. It's a very healing kind of a breath. So now, if you're laying flat on the floor already, you can simply stay there. If you're very happy on your bolster, you can simply stay there. Or you can come off your bolster and lay flat on the floor for Shavasana. You can take away all those blankets except for one for your head. And lay yourself down, observing, and you can take the belt off your legs too if you like. So observe how now you arrange your body, how your body interacts with the floor, where it touches, where it doesn't. Look for symmetry. Ask for that. Shoulders softening down even more. Jaw and tongue relaxing. Eyes softening deep into the sockets. Looking downward and inward, even though they're closed. Allowing the breath now to be itself. Trusting that it will care for you and bring what you need. Once you've finished, you feel settled, bring your awareness deep, deep inside. It can be helpful to focus on the breath a little while longer, but at some point, just be quiet and know that the breath will care for you. Let your mind be quiet. Now gently begin to deepen your breath. Feeling that energy move through your body from the center outward, nourishing and invigorating you now, as each breath is a little deeper than the last one. And when you've taken a nice full breath, begin to move your fingers and toes and your wrists and ankles, and bend your elbows. One at a time, bend your knees and place your feet flat on the floor. You can move your knees a little bit if there's any kind of discomfort in your back. But roll to your side then, your right side, and rest on the floor. quietly for another few seconds. And then roll your chest toward the floor. Push up with your left hand and then with your right. Bring yourself to a sitting position. Sit tall. Sit cross-legged. See that the skin of your hips is pulled back, that you're sitting with the sit bones on the floor, thighs down, trunk lifted, shoulder blades down, neck long, head back. Close your eyes for just another moment. Then join your palms. Bring the thumb side to the base of your sternum, the center of your chest. Draw your shoulders down again, lift your chest again. Maintain that lift, bow your head, and take a moment to be grateful for all the blessings of your life. Namaste. Thank you for coming.